Hello viewers, welcome to my channel, Food Braggers Network. Yes, Food Braggers, you heard it right. Here I bring to you great recipes. You make them, you test them, they taste good, you can brag about them. So today I'm going to make for you tomato sauce with beef. And if you don't like beef, of course, you can always substitute beef for something else. If you're a vegetarian, you don't even need to add anything else. Just make it tomato sauce. But some, you may call it tomato stew. So it's either tomato stew or tomato sauce. But however, let's dive in so I can show you the ingredients that I would be using to make this tomato sauce. So the major ingredient here, as you can see, I have tomatoes here. Big bulb tomatoes. You could use small tomatoes if you wish. This is really juicy, so I always like the big ones if I want to make tomato sauce. And sometimes I mix it up with cherry tomatoes, which are very small and has less water, but definitely taste sweeter. This has a whole lot of water, and so I use it to make my sauce. And of course, spicy pepper. If you do not like pepper, then you can omit that, but I like spicy meals, so I always add spicy pepper to my meals. And here I'm going to use red onions. Sometimes I combine red, white, and yellow onions together for my tomato sauce. It all depends on how you feel. Today I'm going to use only red onions. So 1 bulb of onions for this. And of course I have here half a pound of tomatoes. And I have 5 of this pepper that I'm going to add because I want it really spicy. I love it spicy. So I have already chopped my onions, and so it's right here. I'm going to use also sea salt. You could use any kind of salt that you so choose. I'm going to use dried oregano leaves, dried rosemary leaves, black pepper, minced garlic, parsley flakes, cilantro, and of course beef. My beef has been cleaned and washed, and so all the fat has been removed. So I have here lean beef meat that I'm going to use to make my tomato sauce. Like I said, if you do not like beef, if you want to make it all vegetarian, then definitely you omit beef. You can also substitute beef for chicken if you want, or for fish, or any other thing that you like shrimps. It all depends on what you prefer to do. But today I'm making beef tomato sauce. So to get started, I'm going to blend my tomatoes and my pepper together with my onions. So I'm going to blend them together. I do have here a food processor. You could choose to use a blender. It's all up to you what you have that you could use. So I'm going to pour everything in here. My tomatoes, my pepper, and my onions. You know, dried ingredients come really handy, but also sometimes I use the fresh ones. So if you choose to use the fresh ones, it will give you the same deliciousness. So do not think that you only have to use dry ones. I use dry ones because I can preserve them longer. I have them in my cabinet, and I always have dried ingredients in my cabinet. Most of the time, the fresh ones do not stay for long. So I buy them when I really want to use it within a week. After that, they don't last long. So if you have tips on how to keep my fresh ingredients or my fresh spices like oregano and rosemary and so forth, how to keep it longer without it drying up or becoming rotten, then please share that tips with us, because I love the taste of fresh herbs, but somehow because they do not last long, I always have dried ones in my pantry, and like I said, they taste very good as well. So having said that, let's get this food processor going so we can start cooking. So once our tomatoes, our onion, and our pepper are well blended, then we are ready to cook. So let's go to the kitchen so I'll show you how we can make this recipe from the things I've shown you so far. Hello viewers, I'm now ready. I'm in my kitchen ready to make my tomato sauce. So here I'm going to use a deep pan that will be able to accommodate my tomatoes as well as my beef. Remember, I'm using beef to make this tomato sauce, so I need a big pot that will be able to accommodate that. So I have on the stove here my deep pot with just 5 cups of water. I measured at 5 cups of water and I put it in there, and I'm going to allow that water to warm up a little bit before I put in anything. And so I'm going to let that be on the stove for about 5 minutes. Okay viewers, my pot has been on the stove for 5 minutes now with my 5 cups of water on high heat. So now I'm going to season this water with salt. I start with just a little pinch of salt. Salt is about your own taste. For the whole of this ingredient, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of salt, but you could add more if you like salt. So now I'm going to also add black pepper. I'm going to use about 2 teaspoons of black pepper for this, but first of all I add about 1 teaspoon, and just to season that water up. And now I'm going to throw in my beef. I do not like my beef to be well done. I like it to be medium. So I'm going to make it such that through the entire preparation, my meat is not going to be it's not going to be overcooked. So I throw in my beef into the pot. I'm going to allow it to cook in that black pepper and sea water for about 10 minutes before I add the other ingredients. So 10 minutes and I'll be back to add the other ingredients. Viewers, it's been 10 minutes and my meat has been steaming up here on the stove. As you can see, I had cut them into chunks just to make it easy for it to cook properly. So now I'm going to proceed with adding my other seasoning to this recipe. I'm going to start by adding 1 tablespoon of garlic. I have my minced garlic, so I'm just going to add 1 tablespoon of that. One tablespoon of my minced garlic to the recipe. I'm going to add dried oregano. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of my dried oregano. One tablespoon of my dried rosemary leaves. One tablespoon of dried cilantro. One tablespoon of dried parsley. I'll just stir that up. I'm going to reduce the heat from high to medium. Remember, I had added some black pepper before. Like I said, for this recipe I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of 2 tablespoons of black pepper. So now I add my black pepper to the remaining one, or you could add to taste. And now add a little bit more of salt. I'm now going to add my blended tomatoes. Remember, I had blended tomato, onions, and and some pepper, spicy pepper. So I'm going to now add those to the recipe. So I'm adding that, sorry, to the sauce. So here I have 1 cup of oil, peanut oil. And I'm going to cover up the pot, because if I don't, it's going to splatter all over the place once it starts steaming up. And I'll allow this cook for about 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, and I'll come back and show us what it looks like. So medium heat, 25 to 30 minutes, and then we'll check it out and see. Okay guys, as you can see, this is my tomato sauce. It is steaming up on the stove here, so I can stir it so we can see. And this quantity that I made will serve for at least 7 to 10 servings, depending on how much you like tomato sauce. I like tomato sauce on almost everything I eat. I use it on rice, I use it on potatoes, I use it on pasta, and so many other dishes. So if you like it just as much as I do, then it's probably not going to last for 10 servings. But so, and I'll allow it to cool down. I'm going to scoop them into plastic bowls or glass bowls, as the case may be, and toss them into the freezer. I'll put it in serving quantities so that when I want it, I'll just bring out the bowl, defrost it, and then use it for whatever I want to use it for. Like I said, this is Food Braggers Network. We're constantly bringing you recipes that you could try at home. And if you haven't seen any of our other videos, please go and watch them. We'd like to hear from you how much you like our recipes. And if you've tried it at home as well, let us know how it came out to be.